Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. There we go. It's working now, I think. Cool. Get paid, Gatorade. Okay, okay. Yo, Dave. How's it going? Fine. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. It's a struggle out here in this world. So anybody that's doing fine is managing. That's good to hear. So we're just doing a normal stream as usual, just big chilling, gaming a little bit, playing Fallout. Well, people just big chill, ask each other questions, vibe, if they have any questions about ethics, I'm here to answer them. So if you don't know what ethics is, I can answer what ethics is. Ethics is the big question. Ethics is the study of what you ought to do in regards to other people and yourself, mainly others. Many don't have ethics. Everybody has ethics. They just don't live by 'em, you know what I mean? Everybody, ethics applies to, well, I should say ethics applies to everybody, but everybody doesn't have ethical reasoning. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Not everybody has ethical reasoning, but ethics applies to everybody. Like everybody's gonna be like pain hurty and stuff like that. Nuka Cola bottle, Nuka Cola. Ooh, yum yum. I kind of wanna take that. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's tragic that people don't have ethics, man. Wish they did. Cause the world would be a lot better if everybody gave a tiny bit more shit, just a bitty bit, a wee bit. But yeah, it's one of those weird things. People care about their family, typically. People typically have ethics involving their family, but they don't really have ethics involving other things. Don't know why. It's just biology, I imagine. Billions of years of programming being like, you should care about your family because family care for you. But people that don't care for you, we let them die. Horrible death. And I'm like, it seems a little bit cruel, but fair. You know, it is what it is. People just gonna let each other die. These ooh, zombie. Hello. Hmm. You wondering why my hair is all fucked? It's cause I went to sleep in the middle of the day. I was just like, you know what? What if I just took a little nap and then my hair got fucked? Oh, what the fuck? Are you feeling down? No, right now I'm feeling okay, I guess. I mean, a little bit down. I'm always feeling down though. So, like, comparatively speaking, nah, I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling Gucci. But am I feeling ever really up? Nah, bro. But in general, I'm feeling alright. Feeling alright. Tristan Murray is a wise YouTuber. Oh, I'm not sure about that. He might be, but my wisdom transcends most people. Perhaps he's wiser than I, but I have some doubt. I'll look into him though, I guess. Why not? Tristan Marian. He believes work is a means to an end. Okay. Let's take a gander.
It's the way that I see the world, what I believe about it. I'm not really trying to invite debates in the comment section. I'm just, I mean, if you have questions, if you have thoughts on it, you can share, but I'm not trying to argue with anybody. Because if I wanted to do that, I would do a live stream. Um, but the
Yeah,
purpose
let's
of this
take a
video is just to
listen.
let you know what I believe, and I'm gonna try and structure it in a way that feels cohesive, because I just did another take where I spent about 12 minutes talking about my past and kind of my own journey into believing this, and then I had to cancel it and start over because I realized that I want to be a little bit more to the point and tell you exactly what I believe in. So without further ado, this is my philosophy. Basically, I I think that everything is energy.
I
So what I mean by
mean,
that is
okay.
that if you think about, um, well, let me get to that in a minute. Actually, I jumped ahead a little. I want to start with
You just jump
what
ahead of a
is
little bit, I
anything?
think.
So philosophy always starts with the question where you take a moment and you stop and you look around and you look at life and you say, what is this? Why is this? How is this? Why isn't it something else? Why not nothing? Why something? So those are the questions that you ask. Why something instead of nothing? Why anything? And why this? So what are we? What is the universe? Is God real? What is God? If so, all of these questions that we have to ask that unfortunately most
Who's
people don't ask
Colin
because
Belline
it's a little too
Baker?
stressful, I think,
I
to
have no clue
undertake
who that
those
is.
questions. They would prefer to believe that someone else already has it all figured out and then they can just subscribe to that person's beliefs and not have to think for themselves. That's what most people do, I think. Um, and that's what religion is. But the problem with religion is that religion attempts to contain something that cannot be contained. It's infinity we're talking about here. You know, it's the nature of infinity cannot be put in a bottle. You can't write that in a book and end the chapter. That's contrary to what infinity is. So I think people really jump to conclusions. And I think people who believe in science don't understand that science is really just a means to an end. It's not a religion itself. Um, and religion is also a means to an end. It's a way of controlling people. If you look at the definition of religion and you look at the definition of a cult, they're effectively the same thing, slightly different wording. A religion is basically a socially acceptable version of a cult. And a cult is designed to control people, control the way people think, and get them to just be obedient and not really think for themselves. And I think
Hmm.
people need to be willing to ask the questions that I proposed at the beginning. Just why all of this? So
Why?
let's dive into that.
Why does it get a
First
little
of
bit
all, I think
annoying?
we have to think about what nothing is, because if you have
Let's think about
something,
nothing.
you look around at all of this and it's like, okay, well, clearly this is something, but
True.
then what is nothing? Is there such thing as nothing? Does it not exist? Obviously, it doesn't exist because it's nothing. But I think the concept of nothing exists only by default because it kind of has to. If there is something, then there must also be nothing. Because I think I've realized, I've noticed that everything has an opposite, and I haven't seen an exception to this rule. Literally everything has an opposite.
What about
If you
dildos?
think in terms of energy,
Oh, okay.
and
But everything's made of
that's
energy,
what
so
everything is
what
made
about
of.
the dildo?
So that is also supported by
Kidding, I'm
science.
just
If you
joking.
if you look at the scientific research behind energy, you'll
No,
you'll
wait.
find that it's
Pocket
literally
pussies.
everywhere. It's
He's
behind
right.
everything in
Everything does have
existence.
an opposite.
So you could say energy is like the source of existence itself. So what is it? What is energy? Well, it's not nothing. It to me is like by the same logic that nothing exists by default.
That's energy
Excuse me.
too.
Um, had a like silent burp. I also feel like energy or everything exists by default as well. It just it just is. And it's everything. It's not like it's some things because that would be confusing. You would say, "Well, why is it this and not that?" But the answer is it's everything. I think we need to understand that time and space are both an illusion. There's no such thing because time is infinite. There's no origin to time. It's not like you can go back in time and then find a beginning. If you
I
keep
mean,
going
yeah,
back in
but what's
time,
his
you're just going
point
to keep
about
going back in
this?
time. You're never going to hit the beginning and be like, whoa, I
Because
made it to.
everybody knows the whole time. I mean, as long as you're in like a religious kook, everybody knows the whole time space thing's all just a manifestation of evolution. The universe is the only thing there is, and you cannot define the barriers between objects or everything like that is artificial and a subjective thing. Like everybody knows that, but like, what's his point behind it? Like, does that therefore mean like murder's cool, rape's cool, or is it like like, oh, therefore we should question everything because everything is so wondrous, or like, what is this point behind everything being energy and just bouncing off each other, and like maybe we'll get to that, but that's kind of what I'm
To
wondering.
the start of things. And you if you go to the end, you're never going to reach the end either, because what would that even mean? That means it's not real. Because it's infinite, it kind of goes out of existence. There's an example in a movie called Lucy, um, where she is kind of breaking down some philosophical things like this. And one of my favorite scenes in that movie, she shows an image of a car speeding, and it's just a replaying image of a car driving on a screen. And she speeds the image up times infinity, and the car is gone. So when you speed something up infinitely, it disappears. It stops existing. Um, so there really is no time. There's nothing but time. Therefore, time is an illusion. You're never going to run out of it. So it doesn't exist. It's just a thing that we invented to keep track of things and be organized, because we have time. We as human beings having a human experience are limited in our time to get it done. So, you know, time objectively is what I'm saying is not real, but we have a use for the concept of it. So space is
I
also not
mean,
real,
yeah.
because of the same reason. It's infinite. You cannot reach the edge of it.
Well,
No matter
these
where
are
you
like
go,
truth
you're all
things, but like all this stuff has been like already explored by like old philosophers that like 200 years ago. So I'm just kind of like wondering what's his like main like takeaway from this, because other philosophers come out of this and they're like, there's ethical systems that you should follow, and everything has like a law of nature and blah blah blah. You know, I'm just wondering what he is going to come to it with, like, like all these things are truth bombs. Yeah, I agree, but like, what's the and they're really important truth bombs in the sense to like understanding that everything is just chaotic random forces in the universe, and that there is no God, and that there's no like deeper meaning behind things. But I'm still wondering if he's gonna end up being like, yeah, but there's something about something, because he says there's something is different than nothing. He's like, and I'm wondering what he's gonna say is like, there has to be a feature to somethingness that gives it value, opposed to nothingness, which makes the mind have value, or like something like that. Like there's something different, some nothingness, and there's a difference between like a mind and like a rock. If you can get to that point, then I'm gonna be like, cool, he's saying some interesting stuff. But if he's just gonna be like, yeah, man, we're all just the universe hallucinating itself, man, I'm gonna be like, okay, cool, I know.
always going to be somewhere. You're never going to find the outside of existence and be like, oh, hey, look, I made it outside of existence, guys. I did it. I'm in nothing now. No, if you're there, you're somewhere. Everywhere you go, there you are. So space is infinite too, by that logic. And it doesn't matter if you go up or down or left or right or diagonal or whichever way you want to go, you're never going to reach the end. But again, by that same logic, we are on a sphere, we're on a planet. And that planet does have a limit. You can't just keep going. Eventually, you'll get back to where you started because it's a circle. And that also should leave you to wonder, what are we actually supposed to be doing? It's not like we're supposed to get from A to B. It's not like physical movement is going to be the correct way to live life. Because if that's the way you're thinking, you're just going to keep going in circles. The planet is literally a ball, it's a sphere. You're never going to see like an A to B point. You just run around and you're going in circles, and there's no actual goal. And if you think in terms of the universe, the same thing is true. You could spend an infinite amount of time going in any direction, and you're never gonna get to where you're trying to go. So clearly, physical movement is not connected to our growth. So we are able to move forward on a different dimension. And that's why I don't think of time and space as being real. They're just kind of concepts that that we've invented to help ourselves understand things. But in reality, time and space are an illusion. So the only thing that's real is energy, and that is basically what everything is made of and what fuels us. So if
Okay,
you think
okay.
about um,
Just trying to steal
if
star
you think
energy.
about like the idea that you can die and then what happens when you die, that's a huge question. That's like the big philosophical question I think that people ask. What happens when we die?
We just go and
Um,
scatter about and
it
get
depends on
absorbed
what you
by
believe.
things. Nom nom nom.
Some people want to say that we as human beings are completely material, a materialist perspective. This suggests that we are basically just advanced robots and that
Yeah.
we are made up of matter and material, and everything we do, everything we think, everything we are is just made up of something else that already existed. And in that same way of thinking, there's no such thing as free will. There's no you. There's no real you. Even you are an illusion. You're not real by that logic. You're just a robot who is so advanced and so complex that you think you're real. But that begs the question then, um, what is consciousness in the first place? Why do I think I'm real? Why do I have, all of these emotions, and why do I feel like I have free will? Why do I feel like I could do something that absolutely nothing and no one in the universe could have anticipated? That I can just change my mind on a whim and do things that I didn't even know I was going to do? Um, why does it feel like my actions aren't just reactions to things that are outside of my control, but rather that there is some me in there that is deciding them, and things that I can't even attribute to my past? Yeah, I used to believe in like the materialist theory. I used to think, I think it's called determinism, that everything that you do is a result of
And
genetic
so he's
factors. Your
not a
body and
determinist. He's
everything
gonna
that's
be
made up in your body,
interesting.
your brain, all of it is from chemicals and things that you got from your parents and what they got from other people, and blah blah blah. Just infinite, keeps going up, and and then the universe and all these other things going on, they also play a factor in your decision making. But there is no
Be
real you.
right
You're not
back.
actively doing anything because you don't really exist. That was what I believed, and it made sense at the time. But I had to think about it and realize that there is a me because I do have free will. I'm convinced that I have free will because I know that I've been able to do things that I cannot trace back to anything other than just my consciousness, my ability to make decisions just for me.
Yeah, you're a fucking monkey. That's why you can't. You're not God. You can't trace yourself back to. You don't need to be able to do all that. Like your biology, you like it depends on your definition of free will is, but like you can't control your DNA. You can't control the events that led up to you being in the exact position you are right now, making this video where you were. It's just like all these things are programmed into you by like billions of years of evolution. So it depends what you mean by free will, but I mean, if you want to feel like you have free will, it makes you sleep at night. I mean, go for it. Anyways, I'll be right back. Right back. Let's see. Pointless because DNA cannot be changed. I mean, it's kind of
And I've been put on the
right,
path.
bro.
I have the genetic. I've
You
had
have the
genetic
free will to
reasons and
change that.
circumstantial reasons to make decisions that I didn't end up making because I just believed that they were wrong. Um, and I didn't want to do it. And I could have, and I might have almost, but I didn't. And that's why I believe in free will. One of many reasons I believe in free will, but I'll get to that in a minute. Um, what I'm talking about right now is whether or not we have a soul. And I think that is the question of whether or not we have free will. So the fact that I believe we have free will means I also have to believe that we have a soul, that we have that our consciousness is a soul, that it's, if you want to call it that, that it's this awareness, this ability to do things that are only us, that cannot be traced back to something that's out of our control, that it's just you did that just because you're you. And and that's what a soul is to me. So by that logic, the whole materialist theory that we're just robots doesn't exactly work. So that would suggest that there might be something more than just this body, that you could say that we're spiritual beings having a human experience rather than just a human experience with no spiritual aspect of it. When you understand that everything is kind of an illusion, you begin to question things that you thought were certain about the material world because you realize that the material world is in itself just not even real. It's just all kind of whatever you make of it. And the only thing that's real is us, is our consciousness. So if you look into consciousness scientifically, you'll find that there isn't really a concrete answer. Scientists have been dumbfounded by the concept of consciousness for a long time,
It's kind
and
of
the
such
study
a
of it is
silly
considered
little
advanced science because
goober.
it's really that complex. People don't know what consciousness is because they're not opening their minds to spirituality. And
The word is like,
I think
whatever you make
spirituality
of it,
is basically just
man.
understanding
If you're
that
like a slave getting like spit roasted by some African warlords, you just like manifest reality as something like a little more positive, bro, and like bing bang boom. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just shit talking. But when it comes down to it, that's kind of what he sounds like in my opinion. Because yeah, ethics is all I care about. I don't care about all the woo wah.
that anything is possible and everything is energy. And if you want to say that that it's that it goes against things that have been scientifically proven, what exactly is it going against? Because I haven't seen any evidence in my life to suggest that the material world is all that exists. I know for a fact that there's more going on because I've experienced things in my own head where I can have thoughts and I go to like a different dimension. What is a dream? That's another thing
What is a
that nobody
dream?
talks
I
about. What
don't
happens when
really
you fall asleep
dream one.
and your brain plays these movies?
I mean, I do,
Science
but
doesn't
I
really know.
barely know.
Sometimes your dreams predict the future. Sometimes you have a dream
No,
about
I
what your day is
don't.
going to be, and then that exact same thing happens in the dream. Sometimes you sometimes you have a dream
This
and
guy just has
you
schizophrenia.
like about a person that you haven't met, and then you meet that person. You know, there are all these things that
It's
happen when we're
called
sleeping,
deja
and
vu.
sometimes your dreams don't mean anything. They're
And
not that
deja
complicated,
vu is
but
just a
there's
phenomenon.
still something that you feel like you are transcending when you experience it. And I think to suggest that the material
I
world is
mean,
all
yeah,
that's
I
real
dream. I just don't
suggests
remember my
that
dreams.
nothing
There's
matters
nothing important
because
about a
it's
dream.
all just decaying anyway. We're all just slowly dying, and by the time we're dead, our whole life will have been completely meaningless because we will no longer even exist to care about what we did. And you could say, well, you can still care about other people because other people will still be alive, but they're also slowly dying by that logic. And wouldn't it be doing them a favor to put them out of their misery? Because you're not going to
Yeah,
convince me that people are happy. I think the general
it would be.
population is
You,
pretty
you,
miserable
you look how
because
close he
life is
is,
hard.
guys.
There's no getting
Look how
around that. Life
fucking
is a
close
big
he
fat pain
is.
in the butt, and every step you take, no matter where you are in the world, it's a struggle. Struggling to make money, to afford to live, the struggle just to get food. And you need food to live because our bodies, they say you are what you eat. They mean that literally. If you are not consuming anything, then there is nothing for you to be anymore. It'll take about 2 weeks and you'll just be gone. Um, and we also run on water. There's a lot of water going on here. Why do you think we look so fluid? You know, our movements and our face and everything. It's water. We're made of mostly water, and we can only go 3 days without water. So we
Yeah,
have to be
you're the
consuming
water
things,
man,
and
bro. You look
that's
exactly
that's
like water.
that's
Just
exhausting to keep
drink
up with.
you up.
To know that you have to constantly be putting all this stuff into your body, it's a lot of work, and they don't make it easy
Just
for you. You
kidding.
know, water isn't just easily accessible for absolutely anyone. You have to work for it. You have to either find it, and then you have to make sure it's drinkable, and then if you're going to pay for it, you have to have a job. You have to be able to make money because if you steal, there's consequences for that too. No matter which how you look at it, life is hard. So
Yeah, it
yeah, I
fucking
think that's a
sucks.
fact
He's
that
so
is often
fucking
overlooked.
close, but
People act
he's
like
just
life is
like
this
so
wonderful
fucking
gift,
hard at the
but
same
life
time.
is just a pain in the butt.
It really
And if
is.
you
What are you gonna
incorporate
do to justify it
the
now?
spiritual aspect, you can find meaning to it. But if
Oh
you're
my
only
god.
thinking materialist, I really am confused why you haven't killed yourself. Um, I think the reason that people don't do that is because deep down, no matter what we believe cognitively, part of us just knows that there's something more, that we are not here just to die. We,
Or
we didn't just get
or
created so that we could
hear
just
me
stop
out.
existing. We're here
You
because we have.
aren't egoistic and you think that other beings matter just as much as yourself, and you should probably do something about the suffering of the world more than just taking yourself out of it. But I also fear that there's like a hell or reincarnation thing. So I'm like, I don't want to get reincarnated or go to hell. So there's a little bit of that fear going on as well. But when it comes down to it, because Pascal's wager is bullshit, still it's somewhat like, But at the same time, when it comes down to it, I don't think you need to believe in a soul to believe that there's a purpose to continuing your life, at least for a limited period of time.
Things to do. And my personal belief is that everything in the universe is is filled with energy of different kinds. So let me explain this. I've said that energy is everything, but I think it's also true that some energy can be different from others. For example, you could you could walk into a room of people who are sobbing and screaming and crying and throwing things at each other, people who are having the worst day of their lives. And you would read that energy and say that that feels frightening. You want to get away from that kind of angry, toxic energy, people throwing things at each other. You could also walk into a room of people being passive aggressive, making comments, just saying little things just to piss you off a little bit. That is like an energetic attack, and you feel it. They didn't hit you, they didn't touch you, they just said some words, and somehow you felt attacked. That's because they threw an energetic sword at you and you felt it hit you. Um, and on the same token, if you are in a room with people who are authentic and genuine and non-judgmental, completely non-judgmental, just focused on um, just being and enjoying themselves and being kind and empathetic and compassionate, then you're going to notice the difference. You're going to prefer that room. You're going to want to be in a room with those people as opposed to a room with angry, negative people. And that's because energy is different. It's not all the same. Energy isn't just energy. Energy can be on different frequencies. You could say it's a high frequency or a low frequency. The angry people would be a low frequency, and the happy people would be a high frequency, and that would be measured by truth. I like to think of it as truth and fiction, or love and fear. That's another one. Some people don't really believe the whole love and fear theory, that those are the only two emotions we really have, that everything else we do comes from one of those two places. But I have reason to believe that that is the case because the more I've thought about it, I realize
Dude, okay.
everything that you do
I'm
really can be
sorry.
traced back to love or fear. That you were either in one of those states when you did something. So if we take the moment to stop and ask ourselves, am I about to do something? Is this coming from a place of love or a place of fear? You have to ask yourself.
Yo, I'm about to jerk off to big titty futanari porn, and is it because of love or fear? What's the reasoning? I'm about to go and bounce on a unicycle while yodeling. Is it because of love or fear? I don't like those things either way. But what if I just wanted to give it a shot? Like, what if I just felt like giving it a shot? Like, I wanted to take me yodeling and pogoing. You know, have you heard of the absolute safe capsule? Well, I have not, Seb. But speaking of people who are awesome, Seb's here. Unfortunately, I'm about to dip. I'm about to hang out with a friend for a couple hours, but we'll be live streaming again later tonight because I've already taken like a couple naps today and I woke up late, so I'm awake. I'm bopping, guys. I'm all cylinders fired. I'm ready to go. But when it comes down to it, I'm awake, so I'm gonna be live streaming for a while here. In terms of like the duration of the whole day, but right now I'm dipping for a little bit. But Seb's here, and I feel bad now that I have to leave exactly as Seb's coming in. But that sucks. Yeah, if you want, Tristan Marine, I think is this guy's name. If you like what he's saying, subscribe to this channel. I don't like what he's saying. I think he's just some silly dude. He's having an existential crisis when it comes to spirituality and free will, and so starts believing in the whole light energy bullshit stuff that everybody's trying to hop on board with. But hey, to each their own. Whatever makes you be able to sleep at night and not blast your brains out. Oh wait, I'm a negative utilitarian, meaning your life could be quite costly, my friend. I'm sorry, but whatever keeps you alive is not necessarily the best thing in the world. I mean, if there's like a rapist and he's like wakes up one day and is just like, "Dang, I'm a horrible person. I should kill myself." I'm not gonna look at the rapist and be like, "No, man, everybody has value." I'm gonna be like, nah, you probably should blast your brains like 10 years ago, bro. So, when it comes down to it, I'm just being honest. Like, some people don't deserve to live. But I'm not saying he's a rapist. So he might donate like 10, 20% of his money to like fighting against like women's like abuse, and I don't know that. And as far as I'm aware, he totally could be. So maybe he's a good fella. Despite the fact that his philosophy is bullshit garbage, but his philosophy is bullshit garbage. So on that note, I'm out of here. Take care. Hopefully that guy finds something like native utilitarianism to live for. Ciao.